All right, new to the shop. We're gonna get this thing together. Is this '04 Cobra? This is a customer's car. I bought it as a project, and it just needs a lot of odds and ends finished. It already has a cage in it. Motor has been built. It's got a power glide in it. It is twin turbo, but it's never really ran too much other than maybe a few startups. So it just needs a lot of odds and ends. So I started working on one of them just here today, getting a throttle cable mount built for it. He did not want to disturb the powder coat on the intake. So I'm just making one that hugs the intake and will not disturb it, and it can bolt on easily. But it's a lot of things like that on this one that is going to eat up a bunch of time, and it'll be a pretty fun ride when it's all said and done. It's got slicks on it right now, fully built rear end, already has a chute on it. Fuel tank is a custom one in the trunk along with the water box. So this up. So we got some spare intercooler piping here. But yeah, it's just got a little tiny fuel tank, and he may want me to actually build a larger one because I build tanks like this all the time. So we'll see what that goes. He wants to do Rocky Mountain Race Week, hopefully at some point. So that will require a larger fuel tank. For right now, we just want to get this car running and have some fun with it. And this is where things start getting fun. Start messing with tubing. This tubing is from the guys at JMD Tube out in California. This is 3.5 inch, 16 gauge tubing. I went ahead and I already machined the cone adapter that goes to the throttle body from this intercooler tubing. And now I'm just working with the pieces to see what I got to do to make this fit the way I want it to fit before I start welding it up. This is part of a custom fixture setup that I built just to do tubing work on my vertical bandsaw. And my bandsaw has T slots on the table that allow me to move things around, bolt things down, pretty much anything I want. So this is my setup if I want to do a very small cut on a very thin piece of tubing. With this stuff being 16 gauge, when you start getting close to the edge of the material, it tries to wad itself up if it happens to hook the blade. So this helps from keeping it from doing that. I run kind of a finer tooth blade than I typically would with aluminum, and it works out really well. The next step is putting a nice uniform finish on the tubing. I like to use these buff wheels from Renegade Abrasive. They're actually like a Scotch-Brite wheel. And I have this 3-phase bench grinder that's pretty much set up just for doing this. And it works really well to just put a nice uniform finish on all the tubing. It looks way better in the end to do this. You can also do this by hand. Sometimes you can use those scrub pads to get kind of a different finish and a different look, like an almond scrub pad from your local grocery store or a green one. Those work pretty well to do it. And you may have to start out with like a red and then go to the almond colored ones. And you can get some pretty interesting finishes before you go on it good. So now pretty much all the fab work on the tubing side of things is all done. The only thing I haven't done yet is to mount the transmission cooler. The throttle cable assembly is done, bracket, standoff, all that. I am waiting on an O-ring for the V-band on the throttle body assembly. We discussed flipping the throttle body over, but he does want to keep the idle air control and it will not clear the fuel rail. So that's kind of a no-go there. So my portion of this project is 100% done. I did repair one of the down pipes so that it would fit a little bit better. So that way the customer could at least get this thing on the dyno, start getting some tuning done. Maybe in the future he might want to do different exhaust altogether for the downpipes, but for now he's going to run them. So definitely stay tuned for more. I really appreciate everyone watching.